Kanika Gupta is a very brave woman. She was in Kabul when this clash was going on, when the Taliban came in. She's just got off a flight, had a very tense night, I assume, and then has landed in Delhi just a short while ago. Kanika, tell us about your story. Tell us about your sense at this moment by speaking to people in Kabul. You were the last person out from there on that Indian flight in that evacuation. Do you believe that the people of Kabul believe that this is a reformed, repackaged Taliban, or are they really scared and they have no option because the Taliban are here and therefore they have to make their peace with the devil?
So there are two versions of it, actually. The one version is obviously very evident from the commotion that was at the airport, which means that a large number of people are actually very apprehensive of Taliban forming the government in the country. But at the same time, there is also a very educated subset of the same society that has sort of, you know, even though they don't want to, but they have somehow accepted this reality, and now they're just hoping to see any positive changes. So in my observation, when there was news that Taliban have indeed come into the capital and they are taking over, there was a lot of commotion. People were really scared. Everybody was running around, you know, trying to get home or trying to get out of the country. It was a complete commotion. But at the same time, when I was yesterday, when I was going from my apartment to the embassy, and I also had an opportunity to sort of briefly interact with you know, the Talibs who had a checkpoint right outside our embassy, like about 2 meters away from Indian embassy. I spoke to them, and there was no trouble. I mean, there was no trouble on the streets either. I mean, everything was looking normal, everything maybe a tad tense, but there was nothing alarming, at least to me. I mean, even though it was a very short you know, time out in the open, but from whatever I could observe, it did not look tense to me at all. So I think for now, Taliban is very, very focused on maintaining peace and security in the capital, and outside of that, I haven't heard or seen any kind of harassment.
I want to come now to the second part of this conversation, which is to do with what happens next in Afghanistan. We're seeing Vice President Amrullah Saleh very dramatically declare that he will lead a resistance. He's talking about how after Ashraf Ghani left, he's the man on the ground. He's joined up with northern warlords and is currently preparing to fight back. I'll start by putting this question to Mehbooba Siraj. Do you think the Taliban is now here to stay? Or do you believe that Amrullah Saleh, lords from the north can actually get together and at some point in time push back against the Taliban and this civil war will continue?
You know, I really hope that they don't put us in a civil war at this point, because of the ego of a few men in this country. This country went to hell. And then after that, because, you know, the people of this country in the world actually got together and rebuilt this country. And 20 years after, they left us like this. And then again, now I'm hearing it from the men here and there that they want to, you know, now have a war and defend Afghanistan. What was happening with Mr. Saleh when Ashraf Ghani was sitting there and all of Afghanistan was going crazy and nobody was giving proper orders to anybody? There were orders coming back and forth from everywhere in Afghanistan to tell the soldiers of this country not to fight, or when they were fighting, or there were all of these controversies, all of these things that was going back and forth. What was going on then? He didn't know. He was the man's right hand. He was right there. Well, how come he tells me he doesn't know? He didn't know. And now he wants to fight? Now he wants to get us into another civil war? Really? Is that a joke? Is this what he wants to do? And allow the other countries of the world, some of our neighbors, to have their proxy war in here? Is this what he wants to do? I am so sorry. I am so sorry for all of these people, these warmongers, that they are so crazy having wars. I mean, why? What for? What are we? They're little pawns? All of the lives of the soldiers, the women, the children, and everybody in Afghanistan is for a play? It's for a joke? For somebody just to stand up somewhere with their weapons and say, we are going to have a war? If you're going to have a war, if you're going to fix this country, if you're going to do that, nobody would have hated Ghani and would have hated this government. You would have fixed it starting some 20 years ago. So there wouldn't be corruption the way it was. There wouldn't be this kind of a misuse of justice. There wouldn't be all of this going on in Afghanistan. And that's what ruined this country. And that's why nobody stood with the soldiers of this country to fight. Now you want to do it? You want to fix it now? Why? Because you need to destroy this place? Do you think the civil war is going to go easy on everybody?